believe in your son. I believe he's the future. And his story is gonna make us want to fly.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm David. We're going to review two movies for you today. The Super Mario Bros. And Air, The Story of Greatness, both fantastic movies. And parents, I am happy to report to you that there are no crazy leftist ideology agendas in either of these movies. They're okay to take your kids to. I would say Air, maybe a 13 plus age restriction on that. But both movies were great. Let's start with Super Mario Bros. There was so much to love about this movie. If you're an 80s or 90s kid like me and you grew up on video games, you're going to love Super Mario Bros. Illumination and Nintendo made a beautiful film. It was one of the most beautifully animated films I have seen to date. And there are so many Easter eggs without. Like I said, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you grew up on video games, you're going to recognize a lot of these Easter eggs. There are a lot of them, and they are throughout the movie, so keep your eyes open. But the nostalgia, the animation, the voice acting, everything was just right. The only thing I didn't like about the movie was just the pace of it. The plot was very thin, very simple. I wish Illumination would have taken a little bit more time developing the story and letting things kind of settle. I couldn't appreciate a scene because it was already over and moving on to the next one before I could even kind of grasp it. But still, overall, it was a really fun movie. Take the kids to it. Like I said, no agendas, no leftist crap in it. And I didn't have a problem with any of the casting for any of the voice actors. I didn't have a problem with Chris Pratt's Mario, Charlie Day's Luigi, or Jack Black's Bowser. I was a little skeptical going into the movie, especially about Mario, but they did a really good job and adapted the story around it, so it worked. Now, there are two post-credit scenes, one mid-credit and one after-credit, so when the movie's over, stick around. You're going to want to see these after-credit scenes. They're awesome. Now, the next movie might possibly be my favorite movie of 2023 and one of my favorite sports movies of all time. Air, The Story of Greatness was about how Nike penned the deal with Michael Jordan and stole him away from Adidas. Takes place in Beaverton, Oregon, which is right in my backyard, which was really cool. It was really cool to see Mount Hood in the movie. But this film's casting and acting and just overall flow of the film were incredible. Now, the movie's greatest strength was its acting. Now, I know we don't like Matt Damon's politics or Jason Bateman's or any of these guys, but they did an amazing job in their roles. It was the greatest strength of the movie. Although I have to admit one thing, okay? I didn't think Ben Affleck as Phil Knight really worked. I would have liked to have seen a better, more suited actor for that. But hey, Ben Affleck directed and produced this movie, and it was a great movie, so he's allowed to give himself that role. But this movie was so well presented. The story was told so well and so in detail. I found my eyes glued to the screen the entire time. It was so fascinating. I love movies like this. Now, I will say this boldly. I think Air is one of the best films to ever hit the big screen. Maybe up there with Moneyball, and Moneyball, in my opinion, is by far the best sports film ever adapted on the big screen. There were no agendas in Air, which is surprising because Ben Affleck produced and directed it with Matt Damon, and we all know there were politics, but they didn't let any of that stuff creep in there. There was no social justice, anything like that. It was just a solid movie. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our movie reviews, go to ofamedia.org. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.